going on, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Hope everybody is well. Welcome to Dungeon Dive Live. I'm your host, Paul, and I'll be your DM for a while. Going to do a little recap tonight of last night's Shadowdark adventure. I usually like to come on and hang out for about, 20, 30 minutes, whatever is required. I don't like to overstay my welcome, I go live, and I enjoy going live because I get to hang out with all of you fine folks. If you're brand new here to the channel, maybe you're just kind of floating by, this is my RPG channel where I try to help GMs and DMs run epic games at their table. And so tonight is recapping. We have a Monday night game of Shadowdark. Every Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're interested in that at all, there'll be a playlist. I'll put a playlist down below, and you can watch episodes there. So if you're interested in the Shadowdark RPG, if you're interested in learning how to play it, if you're learning in how to GM it, we have a great GM. Tim's our GM. He does a fantastic job of running it. And so if you're looking to see how Shadowdark is played, come hang out with us. The chat is often very lively, and some folks are usually there that come and join us every week. So come hang out with us and watch the bloodshed, destruction, the cliffhangers, the all the things. There's a lot of things that go on in a Shadowdark game. I am playing a new character. I am playing Terran Doomsinger, and he is a apocalyptic barbarian who worships Ramlot, and he is just dialed into the apocalypse. Like, he can't wait for the apocalypse. He's like, bring it. I want it, like, right. He wants it to happen right now. Ramlot, come. Doom, right? Bring doom. That's what he wants. Doom is his word. So you'll see a lot of that. So let's go ahead, and I know some folks will be filing in. I'll let you know that a couple of things. First of all, if you are interested in all, I do have my latest resource out there for the Halloween season. It is called The Witches of the Blackened Earth. And here's my copy of it right here. And it's got some great artwork in there. Let's see, from Jeremy Hart. So you can see here, it's got some great art in there. And basically what this is a companion to this tool here, which is a hex crawl of horror. And so basically what I do in these is just offer a little tool set. So if you want to do a hex crawl, I've tried to do it kind of a step-by-step with a horror theme, to where you can organize your hexes in such a way to where you're going, oh, okay, it's not super hard to do. Because I think sometimes the hex crawl can be very daunting because you look at a map and it's like it's all over the place. And what I do in the toolkit is I really kind of break down for you how I do my hexes, and over here this page, how I break down the hexes, what are all the different factions that are involved, especially in a horror scenario, because really the world, and I don't even have a name for it yet, but it's we're gonna get there, I think, and maybe have a little setting, so that'll be fun. And but yeah, if you're interested in that, I think it's they're only $1 a piece. Plus there's lots of other zines in there. So this is a regular zine, and I'm working on number 6, I want to say, and I haven't really decided. I don't think I'm numbering these because they're not traditional zines. I need probably some wisdom on that. Should I keep numbering them, or is this something different? So I need to figure that out. But I'm working on what is called the Condemned, or the Come Dead. And so that'll be working on those kind of things. And if you're interested at all in the membership, I have some things going up in tomorrow. I'm doing a breakdown of the Vilhan Reach and a couple other resources that'll be in the membership area, and I think it's going to be where it's going to be live for 24 hours and go back behind the membership. So if you're interested in that, why not just join the membership, and that way you'll have access to it anytime you want. And yeah, so having fun with that. All right, I think I've given everybody enough time to get in here. Enough with the commercials, enough with all the things. Click out of some things. And once again, your comments, questions are welcome. And I keep my little notebook here because if you watch the game, I'm furiously taking notes because I want to make sure that when I come to game time, and this is something I encourage players at my table to do because we're doing a campaign, take notes because that way, it's the player's responsibility that I'm not going to remind you. I'll give you maybe a brief recap, but I may not go through everything. So I encourage players to go ahead and have their own notes. All right, so this is a side quest. Blaga, who is in our group, run by Vance, we believe he's still in jail somewhere. We don't know why he's in jail, but he's in there. He's in jail. And the rest of us are just kind of left to our own devices. So that's never good. It's never good. So a simple little hook. We're walking along in the city. It's me. It's Columbo. It's Draymond. And we are walking around, just kind of, feeling out the city, feeling what's going on. And so we're just kind of, we're just kind of hanging out. We're just saying what's happening. And so Tim, our DM, he says, you see a criminal being toted off to the pits. And so I put a note in there, the pits. So there's the pits in there. It's where you just open it. It was just these big open pits. I think of, what am I thinking of with that? Probably like in Han Solo, the Han Solo movie, where, you just got thrown down in these pits and there was Chewie in there and so forth. So I'm thinking it's those kind of pits where you just get thrown down in there. And so we are now engaging with the Spears of Sareth, which is a deity. And I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I have a right spelling of it, but it's the Spears of Sareth. And this guy, we come to find out, has stolen, or no, is accused of stealing hey, Matthew, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Good watch last night. Keep good work and have fun. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And I am learning. It's been a long time, Matt, since I've been a player in a group. I have been the forever DM, but it's been a long time since I've been in a group of guys, especially like-minded, not just guys, but like-minded players who want to enjoy the game as we once enjoyed the game. And so I think like-mindedness, that doesn't mean everybody's got to be like-minded, but we happen to be. And so we're enjoying the game for what it is. We really do enjoy. We enjoy. And we were talking about on our chat, somebody said, it's less about the game you're playing and the people around your table. I could literally play. There's very few games you could say to me and say, hey, we're going to play some complicated, something or other, some complicated game. And it wouldn't matter if I got to play it with the people around that I liked. And I think that's true. If I think of something like like Survivor, the person they vote off is usually the most annoying. They right? They get rid of that person. Listen, we can't put up with them. Let's get rid of them. So when you're with like-minded people, I think that's a good thing. So here we are. We are now trying to interact, and we're interacting with this accused thief, and of course he denies everything. And Taryn, Doomsinger, my character, is intimidating the guards as he does. He really doesn't care. He's just he's like super base. He's just like, I just don't care. I don't care what you guys are doing. If you want to fight, we're going to fight. So, at least he tries. He's not been in a situation where he's had to back down yet. So we'll see how he responds when he is met with equal force, which he almost did. We'll get there. We'll get there. So anyway, we wind up, this guy Allhelm, he is part of the Thieves Guild. He is part of the Thieves Guild, which is the, what is it, the Silent Knives, which is the largest Thieves Guild in Scorn. And so we're naturally just kind of meeting. We're in this, we've only been in this our second or third, maybe our third adventure in Scorn. So we're really kind of, now a lot of these guys had played together before I got there. So I'm getting to know the city as a player. And so I'm, discovering, kind of how things work. And of course my character, Taryn, is learning the city as well. So we're making all these connections. So we go in, and poor Draymond had to pay all this money to basically buy Allhelm out of this situation, which was shady in the first place. I mean, look, if you can buy somebody out, hey O'Neill, good to see you. If you can buy somebody out, you can say, look, $300. This, we went in to see the captain. I think I put that down. Captain. He was a temple, Spears of Sarath temple captain. Obviously, crimes are they don't consider crimes very, at least what Taryn is thinking. The crimes aren't too bad, I guess, if you can just buy your way out. If you just bribe and say, here's for 300 silver, you can have them. Like, okay, and such as it is. So Taryn in his little mind thinks, okay, there's something shady going on here. If he's willing to let him go, it's not a proper, in his mind, proper justice is not taking place. So he meets up, and this is where he almost gets into it with the captain. His name is Rolf. And so he wound up, there's this kind of very brief mini, kind of for this game, at least in Taryn's mind, was a bit of a foreshadowing, thinking, oh, we're gonna throw down by the end of this, right? So we say, okay, so we find out that Allhelm is, he tried to steal an artifact. So we say, great, let's go ahead and steal. We came up with the idea. We said, well, let's go ahead and go down there and steal this thing. And then Draymond gets this sense, this vibe, that there's something from the Comor forest inside the temple, right? Inside the temple of Sarath, and they're hiding it. They've kept it there. And he got this vision of it. And in an adventure like this, it's like, you have an idea of the ways, and you, as a player, I'm sitting there going, man, is this going to work? Is this something we really, really want to do? Because it seemed like it was taking some time to do it. And that's not a bad thing per se. That's mostly on us. That's not on our GM, Tim. That's on us, because we're the ones poking around. We're asking questions. We're doing all this. But the prep was kind of necessary. And at some point, as a player, and even as your character is thinking, boy, this is, I kept thinking, Taryn wanted to say several times, like, can we just not go out and fight and drink beer? I mean, it's kind of his mindset. It's like, this is taking too long in his little mind. He's like, what are we doing? So we wound up going down. Allhelm shows us the way, a secret entrance into the bottom section of the Sarath Temple. And so we wind up getting down there, and we are trying to, he warns us, of course, Allhelm does, says, hey, don't stay in those tunnels too long. There's bad things are down there. Of course there is. And so we wind up going along, and the first thing we see these guys, they're dressed as, they have these cloaks on, and so forth, and they're the men of Baron Marbury. Marbury? Yeah, Baron Marbury. And my character, Taryn, catches a glimpse of their little clasps that they have on their keeping their cloaks on. So we wound up getting into a fight with them. We wound up taking care of them, which was good. But Taryn was kind of curious. It's like, why are they down here? What is going on? And Terran's mind just kind of works that way. What are these people doing down here? Why are they throwing bodies out? And what's in there? And and it works for me both as a player and as a character. I'm not paying attention to things like torches. I'm not paying attention to the potions that we took, or at least that Draymond and Columbo took, because being dwarves, they have now basically polymorphed into humans so that they could wear the Sarath uniforms. And that's why we got to move along, because otherwise that's gonna wear off, and we're gonna be caught in a bad place if that happens. So anyway, I took the 2 clasps. We defeated the guards. We took the 2 clasps. I took those, and hopefully, Terran is one who thinks like in connections. Now that we have these connections with all these people, with Filbert, with Sabine, who's a thief also with the Silent Knives, and we're building this web of relationships, and which hopefully we can leverage later for something we might need. So, so we wound up going into there, and then we get a little bit further in, and this is where the trouble begins. This is where we run into something nasty. Let me show you the nasty of what we ran into there. I think this might be this will be the thumbnail for the YouTube video after this. But there's this nasty thing. I don't know what it's called. All I know is that it has 3 spiky tails, and it was evil and bad and wanted to eat Terran. So we're now in this fight. And once again, every fight, every encounter, anytime you have to use a spell, anytime it's in Shadowdark, there is a lot you're wagering. Okay, every roll of the dice matters. This is and that's what I really like about Shadowdark, is like, and it can be tiring in a way. It can be like emotionally, like you're always holding your breath as if something is going to happen, which I think makes for a good game. But it's also kind of a little taxing on the soul a little bit, because you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta roll these dice again. My gosh, what could happen? And sure enough, Terran's in trouble. I got healed. I had to get healed twice by Draymond. Now, once again, Draymond could fail. One, he gave me a potion, and one, he used a spell. The spell, once again, if Draymond fails the spell, I am. That's it. I'm done. Terran gets to play in a couple of games. He's done. He has survived. He is now the final action, if you will, or the final encounter was I was being dragged up into the hole in the ceiling by this creature, and I'm like, oh no. And I have a few hit points. I am somewhat conscious here. I say, look, O'Neill, mutant spider monkey with nastiness. So I said, okay, can I go ahead and put my feet against the sides before I get into the hole? I want to grab the tentacles, because the tentacles are all in me. The tentacles are in me. I can't get them out, so I'm grabbing them. I'm like grabbing them like a rope. I said, can I pull on them? So I wound up pulling on them as hard as I could. I think I rolled a 20 or so, not a natural 20, but like a 21, 22, something like that, not a critical. And I wound up pulling this thing down and smashing it on the ground. I want to like flipping it over my back, and it smashes it on the ground, and it winds up dying, which is great. Yay for me. But because I had died twice during that time, I just amped it up, because because I'm playing my character in such a way that everything revolves around Ramlot, it revolves around the apocalypse, and it revolves around doom. So these 2 times that he dies, he caught visions of the apocalypse. He caught visions of what is to come, blood and fire. And so he cries out when he comes back to life. The first thing he cries out is doom. And he's super excited. He's like, oh, that was awesome. I got to see some doom. Ramlot showed me some doom. And so Tim plays on that. And allows me to like do some things. I think he allowed me to attack an advantage, which I think is great. And so we wound up getting that whole encounter's over, and we wound up going to we get into the room, we get into the place. 2 guards are there. We dispatched them quickly because they were sleeping. And then before that, Draymond winds up going blind. He fails his spell. Critical fail on his spell, on Draymond's spell. He goes blind. The only thing he can see is a vision of this creature from the Comor Forest, a spirit from the Comor Forest. And so he winds up just see, that's all he can see, and the direction. So it's basically like a beacon that's guiding him. And earlier when he was in the tavern with us, he said, as a cleric of the forest, as a priest of the forest, he asked Tim, "Can I see if I can contact the spirit?" And so he gets this vision and so forth. So that played in later, and Tim uses that as a guidance system. So Draymond's not just blind and he can't do anything. Now he's being directed because he can see where this is. He needs a little help along the way. Columbo helps him and so forth. So we wound up. He's in this. He's in a prison cell, and in that cell are pages of Sereth on the walls, which makes me think those were kind of like glyphs of warding or something like that to kind of keep this thing from doing anything. So we are setting fire to the doors. We are busting things down. We are just we're trying everything we can. I am shocked that more guards did not come in, because this is where I thought Rolf was going to I was going to meet up with him and I was going to have this encounter. That wound up not happening, and that is okay. Hello, Mac. Good to see you. And so we wound up saying, look, we got to get out of here. So after all that, we leave. We leave the city. We go to the edge of the Comor Forest. This creature is released, and Draymond winds up getting an extra spell for himself. So basically he had paid almost 600 silver, but he also got this spell. So I think that's a fair trade, maybe. I don't know. But all I know is by the end, once again, we were wondering why we didn't die. I was wondering how I didn't die. Well, I did die. I'm wondering how I survived. I should say it that way. I was wondering how my character survived. Once again, these little side quests are so, you think how, and for me, a basic session is 3 hours. We go about 2.5 in our sessions, and the time goes by really fast. And then for those of you that will be watching this later, if you're new to the program, I encourage you to watch, even if you skip to the end, or if you just do the very beginning, and then at the very end, you watch how we kind of level up, like we leveled up. So you're watching us level up. You're watching us roll dice. We're rolling our hit points. We're doing all these wrap up things. So those little fiddly bits sometimes you don't see in a live play. You don't see that in other shows where they're leveling up their characters, things like that. And so I think, if nothing else, I think Joe the lawyer and Joe who plays Columbo, and I were talking and said, look, we're not entertainers. We like to think, though, that we can be entertaining sometimes. And so we think of these, I speak for me, I think these shows are educational. They're hopefully you are entertained by them. Are you not entertained? Hopefully you're entertained by them. But more so if you're a new player, or if you're looking into Shadowdark or those things, or you say, I want to run it or whatever, you're saying, hey, this is helpful. I'm watching it happen in real time, how things happen. You're watching how, a side quest goes. You're seeing how characters level up. You're seeing how those things. So I think those are super, super helpful things if you're a new DM. Any questions? I've gone. That's by the way, these recaps, I do these recaps because Tim gives us 2 experience points for doing a recap of the show, which I think is a great idea. Listen, if you're looking for players for your game, why not challenge them? And say, hey, if you guys post your game on social and talk about what a great time you had or something, I'll give you 2 experience points or whatever it is. Whatever. Ours, the way we level up in Shadowdark, if you're first level, you've got to get to 10 hit points. If you're second level, you got to get to 20 hit points. If you're third level, you got to, you to get to third level, you get to 30 hit points, which Taryn is now third level. And I have to add, let me vote with you guys here. Let me ask, because I have not chosen what I wanted to do. So let me get my book here. My choices are, I have a choice. And let me go ahead, maybe I can go ahead and share my character with you guys. I think this would be good. Let's see here. Okay. So here is, I'm going to show you my character, Taryn, and then you give me your feedback. Okay. Let's see. Give me your feedback. Where should I put? Because here's my roll. I'll take a little poll here. As a fighter, I rolled on my, every time you level up, you get to roll on your talents. And so for fighter, I rolled a 12. So I can choose a talent or 2 points to distribute to stats. Okay. I can choose a talent, one of the talents here, or 2 points to distribute to stats. My choices are, I can either gain weapon mastery with 1 additional weapon type. Now, weapon mastery means I'm going to get +1 to attack and damage with that weapon. For me, it's going to be +2/+2 with that for damage, and I'll add my half my level, so that'd be +3/+3 actually. Or I can get +1 to melee and ranged attacks. I can get +2 to strength, dexterity, or constitution stat. Choose one kind of armor. You get +1 AC from that armor. Or 12, choose, those are the ones I can choose from. Or I can just add, like I said, I can choose from those, or I can choose 2 points to distribute. Now, let me show you the character. Okay. Right here. Here we go. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So as you can see here, Taryn has strength of 17. So if I add a point there, I'm going to get +4 for that. And then I'm going to get, if I do con, which is where I was thinking about putting that, +1 to that, it'll give me 0. So I won't take a deficit in the con area. Okay. So what do you think? What would you do in my position? Would you go ahead and take one of the other talents, right? Weapon mastery, do a longbow or a short bow, something like that. Would you take the +1 to melee and ranged attacks? Would you take +2 to strength, dexterity, constitution? Or would you choose one kind of armor? What do you think? What say all of you there in the chat? Let me know your thoughts real quick. And I will. Okay. All right. So I would choose con, dex, or weapon let me see here. Choose con, dex, or weapon mastery. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have a thought on that? Because like I said, I was thinking about going strength because I'll get the +1. That gives me, another plus there, which then my other pluses will be added in with that. So, and I'm not, I don't know if Taryn wants to use a bow, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. He just seems like he's just like a one weapon guy. I just use great axe. That's it. He just chops things. Everything else is just like, to him, it's like, that's complicated. I don't want to fight with a distance weapon. Maybe I'll do that maybe once I max out. My thinking is, well, if I go ahead and max my strength and max my con right now, my next thing would be to be mastery. And then I would maybe, by then, he might be ready to do a distance weapon. So we'll see. We'll see. Any other feedback? Let me know there in the chat. Otherwise, go ahead and be sure, if you have not watched my video yet on Boons and Banes, this is a resource from the folks that you've seen me do videos with the Game Mastery books about the encounters or the tables or those kind of things. And I do those books that I get from Media Lab Books. And this is their latest resource. It is by Ginny D. And I'll just show you a quick card here if you didn't get to see the video. These are the kind of cards you get. I like them. I think they're cool. Um, I don't use a ton of these in the game, but I'm thinking that I might, for at least for a one shot. I think they'd be fun for one shots. I don't know if I would use them in regular play, but you never know. So I'd encourage you, if you're interested in that, watch the video. Is there a deficit? Max says, is there a deficit in ranged attacks? Right now, I don't. I mean, the only thing I have is it's not a deficit. It's the same. I don't think. I mean, if I'm rolling dex, my dex seems to be fine. So I'm not getting there's no deficit for dex for me right now. So no downside because I already have I'm +1 in dex. The only reason I want to get rid of con is because if you're dealing with a lot of things, I think you get more con checks maybe, especially when dealing with magic or other things of that nature. So my thought is that's what I would do there. You mean group wise? Okay. I don't think so. I think Columbo has a distance weapon, and so does Draymond, and so does Blaga. I think they all have distance. So I'm kind of the well, I don't know what I am as far as that goes. So I'm going to give it some thought, but I appreciate the feedback, everybody. And I was going to make one last thought on this before I close out with you guys. Yeah, Mac. Yeah, if not, then I'd hone in on that weapon skill. I agree. So the one thing too that I was going to talk about was being a generous player. I think this is true. This is not something about me, but here's what I find within our game, and I think it's a good principle to follow, is show up to your table to be generous, whether it's a con game, whether it's your regular group, those things. If you notice, something I noticed in our games, there's a lot of silence. In other words, there's nobody who's really dominating per se. Okay, well, Joe the lawyer maybe is sometimes, because that's usually when he's scrounging. But as characters, I think there's these times of silence where we're waiting for beats, right? We're waiting kind of for the story beats, or we're waiting for another character to step up and do. And I just think that's an act of, I think it's an intentional act of generosity, that when you show up to the game table, and if you're watching this, you're brand new, this is something I think that you can encourage your players. If you're a DM, if you're a DM and you play a game, be generous, right? I know, that maybe the players around some tables are always, looking for the spotlight and looking for attention. The way I play, and I think everybody does it, but the way I play Terran, and the way I played Eleanor, is there's times where you just don't talk. You're just listening to what's happening, what's unfolding. Because if you're always talking, you're missing the story beats. If you're so busy trying to push your character forward, you're missing, I think, opportunities as a player to catch a story beat that's going to inform your character, that's going to expand your character, that you give an opportunity. So when you're playing, if you're always talking, the DM, at least for me as a DM, if you're always talking, I tend to tune you out. I'm looking for the small, still voice in the crowd. If I hear loudness, I'm going to tend to drown that out, and I'm going to not pay attention to that as much. I'm going to pay attention to the softest voice in the room, not necessarily the loudest. And so as a player, if you're bringing that, I think, to the table, I think you're going to get noticed far more, because I think the DM is trying to tune that out. And so for me, when you're, and I think all the guys in the group who are playing do this, where they wait for these beats and they're waiting for something to unfold. They're waiting for the DM to say something. You're waiting for another character to say something like Taryn will look at another character. I think this is an opportunity to be a generous player, is, tease somebody up, right? Tease somebody up to give them, like, instead of answering the question yourself, play your character. Like Taryn was like, I don't know this. Taryn, our character, won't know this, but Columbo might. So I'll ask a question to another character to give them an opportunity to bring a solution to the table, right? Instead of everybody's kind of wondering, everybody's saying, well, when do I get my chance or my time or my spotlight? I think we're all fairly generous players at the table, which allows character growth. It allows players to be generous to other players, but it allows the story to breathe a little bit. And if you're listening, if you're paying attention as a player, you want to hear what the DM is saying. You want to hear what part in the story, are they talking about, or do they give you a hint or a clue? So I think if you're a generous player, if you come in with the mindset of generosity, your character, I think your character is going to flourish. I think you're going to build the story. I think you are going to help the other players play their character in great ways. And I think you're going to give the DM a break. Instead of everybody pushing for attention, you're going to allow everybody to kind of allow the DM to hone and do his thing versus always trying to clamor for, that attention or for that spotlight. So that's just my 2 cents. That's just my 2 bits on that. Take for that for what it's worth. But if you're watching this video in the future, I hope that you enjoyed the content today. I hope that that's a thought that you can bring away with you about being a generous player. And I want to thank everybody for watching and hanging out tonight. For those that are here, Mac and O'Neill and Matt Sherman, thank you guys for being in here, being a part tonight. And that's it. That's it. I'm going to wrap up and be done. Go check out the videos, by the way. If you want to go check out the Boone and Bane video, which I just did, be sure to go ahead and check out the Crit Happens vids. Those are out there as well as resources. You can go check out. There'll be links down below. You can get that in my store. And I just uploaded, I will say this, I just uploaded this to DriveThruRPG to see what will happen there. So, and don't forget, be sure to go and click the thumbs up button if you haven't done that yet. That's always cool. And other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a great night. And don't forget, next Monday, Shadowdark, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully I'll see you guys over here again when I do a recap. And I got some more videos coming at you this week. So we will catch you guys then. Have a good night, everybody, and we will talk to you later. Night, everybody.